So you want to buy a car from Copart. We just went through that process for the first time, and we'll tell you exactly what to expect. I'm Sean.
I'm Jill.
And this is 151 Garage. Hit the intro. So who can buy a car at Copart? Anybody. But not anybody can buy a car at any Copart.
There are restrictions.
Yes. Depending on the state you live in or the state you try to buy a vehicle from is depending whether you can buy one or not. Now, as a normal person, no dealer's license or anything like that, no business license to deal with cars, manufacturing, anything like that, you cannot normally buy a car from, like, say for instance, Florida. Florida, you can't do that. Now, take for instance, Georgia, where we bought this vehicle behind us. You can buy salvage vehicles only, meaning you can't buy clear title vehicles, you know, running, driving vehicles that have a little bit of damage, but they went ahead and scrapped it completely anyways, or they are selling it through somebody else. There is places where they just kind of give the vehicle to them and they auction it off. You can't buy those vehicles in Georgia. Now, other states, they do allow it. I do not know what states they are.
You'll have to Google that.
Yeah, you'll have to look at that. You can actually look at it through the Copart website. Just put no license required and it will show you a list of vehicles and the states they come from. Now, we picked Georgia because it's close by. I didn't want to pay for shipping that was going to be over $3,000, say for instance, if I went to Arizona. So when you bid on a car, expect to win. Any bid you bid can win that car. Case in point, the 2006 Ford Mustang we bought, we put one bid and it was a $25 up bid from the last one. So it was $625 and it went to $650 and we watched the thing go down, expecting somebody else to
like jump in at the last minute, and it never happened.
Never happened. So it was actually a surprise to us, the fact that we actually bought this car for $650. Now there is other fees with it. There's taxes, license fees,
Title
registration,
fees.
stuff like that. So title fees, stuff like that. So there is other bids or is other fees on top of the bid you put in. So you have to look at that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing you have to think about is when they give you the pictures, there's only maybe 10 to 12 pictures. So unless you have the ability to go up there and look at it, we didn't. All we had to go by is the pictures.
Yeah.
There is a lot of hidden damage that you might not know, whether it be underneath, inside, or hidden behind panels like the fender, the bumper. In case of this one, we actually found more damage. And especially the inside. If there's a broken window, they do not
They don't cover it unless somebody pays extra for it.
No. So when you look at a vehicle, when you look at the vehicles, there's S meaning it starts, R meaning it runs and drives, and E, which is enhanced, which means they took better care of this, whether they put it in a building or put a cover over it or cover it up the windows. That way it wouldn't get rain inside like this one did. That's what the E stands for. Not every vehicle is going to have that. Nobody's going to pay extra to take care of a vehicle that's only going to sell for a couple $100 or under $1,000.
Yeah.
Now you're going to see that mostly in supercars or big time luxury cars. You know, your Rolls Royce, Bentleys,
yeah.
Lamborghini, Ferrari, so forth. You won't see a 1986 Toyota Camry with a E next to it because nobody really cares about that. It's scrap anyways.
Yeah, you might see like an antique car that's there that, you know, has an E on it because they're going up in value.
86 Toyota Corolla is not an antique.
No, it's not.
But
I mean, it is.
Eventually it will be. Eventually it will be. Another 50 years it will be if there's any survived. Now, let's get into hidden damages. When we bought this car, there was two things that we knew there was damage, but we didn't know how bad it was. One being the front.
All right, for those of you watching the other videos, the earlier videos, you saw that the front bumper was a little bit destroyed on this side. Well, that's because they hit something and it ripped off. But anyway, whatever they hit went underneath. That's where the primary damage was. It took out the radiator, the AC condenser, and whatnot. But because there was a sight shield on top of this, we could not see from the top or when it was on the truck, underneath, that there was a transmission cooler as well as a power steering pump cooler that was a little bit damaged. So that's all the hidden damage in here as well.
The thing is, when they give you pictures, they only give you maybe 10 to 12. It's one of each corner, one of the front, one of the rear, one of the engine compartment, one of the VIN number, and a couple inside.
And
maybe
the
a
odometer.
couple inside.
And the odometer.
And the odometer. So you don't really have a lot to go by, and it's not like they take a picture of the damage. They just stand there, snap a picture at each corner, so anything underneath, you're never gonna know. It's gonna be, you have to guess that there's stuff damaged underneath. They do have an option that you can actually have somebody take more pictures. It's usually in where the vehicle is, where you can basically request more pictures, and I think we didn't do it because we didn't worry about it. I don't know how much it costs, but if you do spend something over a certain amount that you feel comfortable buying and knowing that it might not be what you want, to have that done. $650, I wasn't going to pay any money to have pictures because we knew there was already damage. She worked at an estimator for a number of years. She already knew that there was stuff underneath that was damaged. So did I from looking at it. Interior we didn't worry about because we'll get into that in a second.
Now the quality of pictures are not like high def, so even when you zoom in, they're going to look a little bit fuzzy. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, they took them with a 1980s Nokia or something like that. They're not very
Just
high
a little
quality.
tiny camera.
Yeah, little.
So.
But this right here is something that you need to expect. If there's damage in the front, you know there's gonna be damage underneath. So wherever that damage is, you gotta look and expect damage behind what's damaged, you know, further in. So let's take you to the inside real quick.
Always expect hidden damage. Right. So this vehicle came with a dead battery. And these are frameless windows, just like the Bronco. So when you open up the windows, or open up the doors, the windows go down, and then when you close it, they go back up. Well, because you have a dead battery, your windows don't do that. And I don't know how long this thing's been sitting up there in Georgia in the salvage yard, but it rains occasionally, and it has standing water in it. Expect that when you have a salvage vehicle. If it has a broken window and it's not covered, you're gonna have water. And with water and heat, you're gonna have mold. And there was a lot of that in here, as well as trash and a few other unmentionable. But the interior from the pictures look good, but pictures can be deceiving.
You can't smell pictures.
Yeah, you can't smell pictures, and you can't see like microscopic problems such as mold, because there wasn't any mold on the photos. It just looks like trash. But the interior wasn't that bad as compared to some.
Yes, and we planned on taking the interior out of this anyways. This is going to be her rally car, so we weren't really worried about that. We're either going to sell it or scrap it no matter what. So that's one of the reasons why we're willing to not worry about pictures, especially for the inside, because we are going to get rid of it all. So,
Yeah.
So there is a way for you to buy a vehicle even if you aren't a dealer, especially in a place where, like Florida, the normal person can't go buy the vehicle. It's by the use of a broker. So what a broker does is, we haven't used one yet, but we've read about it a little bit. What they do is they bid for you and go through the process. There is a link underneath the vehicle that you're trying to bid on where it says contact broker, and it is within Copart that you can contact the brokers. They have a list of different brokers you can contact wherever you are to be able to bid through there. Now, everybody has that friend that has a dealer's license.
Yeah.
So you have to have a dealer's license to be able to buy the vehicle. We have tons of people that we know that have dealer's license. Did we go through that process?
No.
No, because I'm not going to rely on a buddy that I know kinda to buy a car for me with my money
And put it in their name.
and have the trouble of going through the process of registering it and then giving it to me. When you buy the vehicle, or whoever buys the vehicle, that vehicle goes in that person's name. It doesn't go in somebody else's name. So if you buy a vehicle, it goes in your name. If your buddy buys the vehicle for you, it goes in his name. Now he's gonna have to go through the process of registering it or titling it in his name, then going through another process of selling it to you and then giving it into your name. That right there takes a lot of time, and that friendship wear really thin unless it's somebody like somebody you know is your best friend, blood brother, family member, or something like that. But some random Joe you know from work or whatever, or some guy you met at, you know, some club or something like that, they are not gonna do that for you because they're gonna have to take time out of their day to do it. That's why we didn't do it. We have people that were talking about it that said, yeah, we know people, or yeah, we have a dealer's license, but we didn't take that advantage.
Now, you always run the risk when you do something like that is if that person likes the car that you bought and they title it in their name, they don't have to give it to you.
No, because they bought it. It's under their registration. They're also going to have to pay $100 to register into Copart, meaning you have the option to bid, but you need to pay $100 to actually do that. It's not free. So
okay, and I can feel the keyboards getting smashed right now. The broker, the difference between that, what we're just talking about, and the broker will actually put it underneath your name and not theirs. So you don't have to go through that process. So it's just like if we bought it directly, but with a middleman. Yeah,
and they're approved through Copart to be able to do that. It's not a buddy buying it for you. They can't do that. It has to go through a broker through Copart. So you click on the link for broker and it'll give you a list of brokers in your area that is approved from Copart to be able to do that. That's the exception. Somebody down the road or some friend you met wherever cannot do that for you.
Right.
Dealer's license. How hard is it to get a dealer's license?
Depends on the state that you live in, what the requirements are.
There's no way you're going to go buy or get a dealer's license just to buy one car.
No.
Dealer's license here contains
a separate building with a place to put a car, a bathroom, an office, and
there's requirements that you have to
like
fill that is pretty long. You have to have a commercial building to be able to get a dealer's license, and you have to have it approved by
I think the city
or
the
DOT, Department of Transportation. You have to have them approve you to do it. So even if you have all that, doesn't mean you can get approved for it.
Yeah.
So now registering the vehicle. We haven't done that yet, and we'll get into that at a later video after we get this registered. Now, this right now is registered through Georgia at the insurance company. So it's in the insurance company's name. It's written over to me. I have to register it in Florida, but it is a Georgia title, meaning I don't know if I have to go through Georgia first, or I can just change over the title straight to a Florida title and not have to worry about it. We haven't gone through that process. We've heard things, people have said stuff, but until I have that title in my name, I don't believe anything anybody says, even the DMV. Until I have that title in my name that says Florida, I won't believe what they say. So I have to keep skeptical about that.
Okay, so now what he's talking about is just salvage vehicle only. So this will forever be a salvage vehicle. It will be salvage titled as such, and it will never be roadworthy. You can never flip, I don't care what Google says, you can never flip a salvage title to a clean title. It is impossible. You can, however, take a salvage title and flip it to a rebuilt title. And what that entails is, say we wanted to make this thing roadworthy, I would have to replace the entire interior anyway. I would have to put new interior in it and make it roadworthy, make sure all the repairs are done to spec, and insurance, I have to get that, registration, and inspection. There's a lot of things that go into that if you want to take a salvage vehicle and put it on the road for a daily driver. So keep that in mind. If you just want to take a car and just go beat it up in a demolition derby, don't worry about it. Just flip the title over and just be done.
Or rally.
Or that.
Like this one is. This one's going to be a rally car, so.
But that's the difference between those two things. Yeah.
I hope this helps you, because when we were going through it, we had no idea. We just kind of went through it, winging it, figuring out, okay, something's up. We'll figure it out eventually. We'll kind of go through it. That's why we weren't worried about this vehicle. This vehicle only costs us
$650.
Yeah, $650.
And don't go buy everything that you see in Google because we had conflicting information. Oh, you can do this, but you can't do this. Oh, you can't do this, but you can do this. I'm just like, nothing was matching.
And us would be probably the same as somebody else. Somebody else
Yeah.
is going to say the complete opposite. Now, we did just buy this. We did just have it delivered, which we paid for this to be delivered. That right there is a whole issue in itself, is trying to get this delivered. You have two options. You can go get it yourself.
But you have a time limit?
You have a time limit. Or you can have somebody deliver it. Now, if you pick it up yourself and you wait a period of time, there is a penalty where you have to pay a fee over 3 days, which you have 3 days to pick it up, business days.
Yeah, they're closed on weekends.
You have 3 days to pick it up, and then after that 3 days, you start paying an increasing penalty of $5 a day, meaning $5 for the first day, then it's $10 for the next, so a total of 15, then 15 for the next, total of 30, and then it keeps going up like that until it hits $30, and it's $30 a day.
For then on out.
For then on out. I think there is a limit. I think it is like 2 weeks or something like that before they just turn around and put it back in the bid and sell it again. They do not leave it at their lot forever for you to pick up next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really expensive car next year.
Yeah, because still just put it back on the lot to be resold. Now, if you have it transported and you paid for it within a lot of time frame of what, like 3 days to pay for it?
Yeah.
That are 3 business days. It can sit at the lot for however long it needs to sit until the transporter comes and gets it.
Yeah.
So there's that, but the transporter has to get a gate pass and then he has to load it up, and Copart themselves will send you a notification saying, hey, we picked up the vehicle, and then it's just in transit then.
Now, why we stress Copart themselves will send you a message saying they picked it up. We've got 3 different messages from the transportation place with delivery where we ended up having this delivered from the
3
company.
different dates and
3
everything.
different dates stating when they picked it up and when they'll drop it off. 3 times I got that. I didn't figure out until Copart sent me something saying your vehicle's been picked up, and it will give you a date, a time, and the person who picked it up.
Yeah.
Meaning
The
the driver's name and whatever. Now, if you do pick it up and it is a long haul like we did, where it is from Georgia to Florida or same distance anywhere else, it is going to be a 9 vehicle transport,
Yeah,
meaning
it's gonna
a
be
big truck with a bunch of vehicles on it.
Yeah, it'll be a transporter vehicle.
Yeah, it's not going to be some guy with a pickup
carrier.
with 3 cars in the back of it. It's going to be a fairly big one.
Yeah, it can be a semi. Ours was on top of the semi, and it was on top of the rack.
Now, with that, creates another problem. You can't get those vehicles in, say, for instance, a small neighborhood. They won't bring it in here, even though it is, you know, almost possible. Most likely they won't be able to do that, which at that point, you're going to have to either bring a tow truck, if you have one,
Or a
rent
flatbed
a tow
trailer.
truck, or have somebody tow it or whatever, flatbed, or get a tow truck to be able to bring it to your house. What they will do is they'll deliver it to a large parking area, say for instance a mall or a church or whatever, backside of a department
Grocery
store,
store.
grocery store or something, to be able to do that. Now the reason they do that is because there's a lot of vehicles they might have to pull off. They need to put them somewhere. They're not going to park them all up and down the road to be able to give it to you. What they'll do is they'll park it there. They'll park them in the parking spots, pull your vehicle off, have you check it, you sign for it, it's yours from then on. So at that point where you sign for it and they give it to you, it's your problem. They're not going to take it anywhere else other than just leave the keys for you.
Now, we ended up having to call a tow truck, a company I worked with when I was in the body shop. I ended up calling them, and they brought it to my house.
Yeah, and it was an additional about $120, $125. So on top of what you deliver fee for this, wherever you are, is an additional fee to get the tow truck to do it from there to your house or
So
wherever
just
you want
keep
to
that
have
in mind. That's only because the thing had a flat tire. So Copart was a really good experience to work with. They're wonderful staff, very timely on the emails. They kept you informed on everything. We would do it again. If we had the opportunity to do it, we would definitely do it again. The transport people is more like a third party, so it's like playing telephone you'll probably never get a message back from them. If you do, it'd be like days.
Yeah,
It's not immediately.
Like I said, depending on which transport company you get, you may never get an email back. You'll get every once in a while you get something saying, hey, we're going to pick it up. But will we buy another vehicle from Copart?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Jill's rally vehicle we're building. I do want to build a autocross vehicle. With that, I'm not worried about the interior. I'm not worried about a lot of stuff because I end up changing a lot of the body panels out. I end up changing the interior out, the wheels, stuff like that, suspension. So I'm not real worried about that. That is a perfect thing where you buy a vehicle that you know is already damaged and you're not going to take a vehicle that's going to cost you a fortune to buy and then turn around and rip everything off that you just paid for to be able to build the vehicle you want. This vehicle, we are going to build this a little bit different than your normal Mustang. Hope you guys want to see that and subscribe. If this helps, like the video, subscribe, and when we get everything else done to the vehicle, register, everything like that, or sorry, title it and everything like that, we'll get into that and, you know, let you know what goes on there.
Other than that, that's it.
See you next video.
Bye.